From the caves of the Crab Conspiracy to the stars of the Crab Nebula, I bring you the Decapod.
Yo, what's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Look at your setup. I like it.
I know, right? Got my stuff over here. Got a fucking sweatband. Can put
Is
some
that
work in.
crab special?
This headband?
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, I got like little claws and stuff.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Nice.
What's going
Sorry,
on, dude?
I'm like gonna be talking like real hush because
Oh yeah, yeah. Is the baby
baby's
in the room?
asleep in the next room.
Oh, in the
So they're
next room.
like we started. I've got my headphones, so you don't need to speak. um,
It's okay. I
like
feel like I
started.
think I think it I think it kind of adds to it. I feel
It's
like
spooky.
we're
Yeah.
in the same room, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Benny just started back at work this week, so we've got like we've got a studio out in the back of our house, a little room separate from the house, which is cool.
Mhm.
But because I was doing this, I was like, oh, I'll jump in the bedroom for this. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
chilling in here. How you been?
Nice, man. Good, man. I'm trying to remember the last time we talked was like right when the pandemic started, right? Must have been
Yeah, I put
2019.
it.
I know it's 2019,
Was it? Yeah.
right? I
Wow.
think so.
I think it was. Yeah, because 2020 was like when the pandemic real sort of came real here. I think it was maybe a little
Yeah.
bit behind you or something.
Right, right. Oh
But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It was just
oh,
probably
I can't even
popping off
remember.
or about to pop off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't, yeah, maybe it wasn't a thing yet, but it was about to be.
Yeah.
So
Oh my god.
pre-pandemic was the last time we talked. A lot has happened in your life, sir.
Oh my
And
god. Yeah.
everybody's
So
lives,
much.
obviously, right? Right. So you're a
Yeah.
dad now. You're a dad now.
I'm a dad, and it's yeah, like a year in. Ray turns one like next week or something, which is
Oh
crazy.
shit.
She's almost one, and like, yeah, it's totally different life as you can imagine. So I feel like I'm still just starting. Like, and then I'm kind of like, oh, maybe you just never get used to it. You never figure it out
Oh my
ever.
God, that's just fucking life, right? Just like always shit is happening and you're like, I gotta catch
Yeah,
up all the time, right?
yeah. I like to say that a lot. I feel like a lot of parents are like, you don't know how good you got it. It's easier. I'm like, it's like, no, life is always like that anyway, whether you have a kid or not. It's not
It's
harder
true.
because you have a kid or whatever. Like, I think a lot of parents are like over the top about it. It's just like, oh my God, my life's so much harder than yours. It's like, no, life's a battle always. You know, not in a
It's so
depressing
true.
way, just in a good
Yeah,
way.
just stuff gets added on and you just gotta like adjust, right?
That's
And
right. You always got to change.
you always kind of feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but you always kind of feel like it's the most all the time, right? Any
Yeah,
crisis, well, to anybody, any crisis is their biggest crisis, right?
yeah. The one you're having. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I guess it's perspective. But anyways, dude,
Mm.
um, why don't you talk about your art and what you've been doing? Because like you've been hitting it hard for a long time now. Like from what I've been seeing online, and I feel like you have
Mm.
a really strong community around your artwork. You're always doing art shows. You do a lot of collaborations with local stuff in Australia, and I really love the style. You have this like illustrated collage style with like a lot of like things that you can find a lot of meaning in. For each person to view, it's probably always like you can figure it out, but for you, it's probably something else. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's cool actually. I've been doing this. I've been asked to do this talk at like a school next
nice.
week, like a high school, and sort of like a careers thing. And they wanted like an artist, like it's something they've never had, like a visual artist. So for me, it's actually been a cool experience because they want me to tell my story a bit and what I do, and it's made me sort of reflect. And like
Yeah,
you said, yeah, it made me realize like, oh, I have been doing this for ages now. Like Ghost Cam when we met was like, I think it was like 7 years ago now or something, which is
shit,
crazy.
that's crazy.
And I feel like that's when I don't know if I realized how much of an impact that had on me. I feel like since that dove a bit deeper into like being an artist, and yeah, I don't think I realized at this time how much it like sort of pushed me down a direction. But I feel like since then I've been like, you know, full on going for it. Not necessarily trying to get anywhere, but just making art a lot.
Before camp, what were you doing before camp?
Yeah, I was sort of looking back. I was like, oh, I mean, compared to how much I do now, it was like, oh, I didn't feel like I was really doing that much. But I mean, I was obviously into it enough to go to that crazy camp that at the time I knew
Yeah.
nothing about, and at the time it was still the very like secretive mystery vibe. No podcasts about it, nothing. Like, so I was like, I'm proud
Secret
of myself.
society.
Yeah, I'm like real proud that I went and did it, and I was obviously deep enough into art to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this scary thing that I have no idea what it is. But before that, I don't know. I know I was drawing. My main thing was drawing then. I don't think I was even into painting yet. I was just drawing and like painting t-shirts, and I would do a little bit of design stuff to make money, but I was doing like other work. Like I worked in a restaurant, and which was great. It allowed me to go and do that. And but yeah, I think the thing I realized I did after Ghost Camp was I did that thing where I drew in my sketchbook every day, because everyone was like, oh yeah, I do like a full page every day. Everyone had like very distinct, like, oh, most people, the people who I was like really vibing with there were like doing just more distinct things than I was. I was just sort of doing it purely gut. It's not like yourself, whatever. It's like I do this every week or I do this every day. So for like a year, I filled a page in my sketchbook, A4 sketchbook, with like those sort of like collage style you were saying, like flash sheet style.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it too. A flash illustration, like a flash tattoo sheet style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I don't do as much anymore, but I did doing that for a full year without any pencil. I think I learned that from Gummy Brady, that he was like, there's something with drawing. You know how he did those crazy drawings straight with pen, like no drafting, and he was like, even with the mistakes, there's something magic about just doing it straight with pen. There's like a boldness that you can't replicate if you draw over it again. So I did that for a year, and then I just had this awesome, like, it was sort of like this database that was like in my head after that of this stuff. And because I didn't plan it, it was more like weird than if I was like, oh, I want to draw whatever, like a plant or something. I didn't really use references or anything. I just drew. So then weird things, naturally came out because I was just drawing, and then also it was for nothing. So it was just really free and just opened me up. And then for a little bit there, it kind of became my style, where I'd just fill a page with the drawings. And that was kind of when I really felt strong connected to a style. I don't do that as much anymore, but it's still in there. Like it's still
How would you describe what you're doing now?
I think it's just more like eclectic. Like it's more, I just do lots of things. Like I still do that style with like t-shirts and things I do. Like I work for that brand House of Darwin a lot. And that's sort of that style still, but like it's more distinctive, like telling a story of a particular place or something.
Okay.
But then I do the painting stuff, which is more like a bit more
I feel like
free.
the paintings, right? Yeah, the paintings but they're kind of still like collagey, where they have like random elements that seem like they come from different places, but they tell a story all together and somehow some sort of message or something.
For sure. I think that it's definitely still there. It's like the skeleton is that style, and it's just like adding more elements, like there's like the painty elements, but you're right, it's still there. It's still got that style for sure, because it's sort of like a bit more now. I'm a bit more like, it's together what it means, like one painting. It's sort of like, it's definitely not like literal. It's not like this exact like this means like this, but it's, I don't know, it makes this weird kind of sense in my head, whereas those drawings were literally just free, random, explorative kind of thing.
So you come at it more explorative and random when you're painting them. Because like for me, I have a narrative, and I'm trying to, it's very premeditated, I'd say, the way I go about it. But you feel you are more organic when you you just start drawing one thing and it leads to another thing? How do you think about
Um,
when you're creating your paintings?
yeah, it's a bit of both. It's actually developed more now that I will have some sort of um, story to tell, but it's pretty like abstract, and I don't know
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what every bit means. And I'm not just putting it there because I think it looks cool, but it does have, it makes some sort of sense, but it's not like, oh, this represents my
sure,
family or
sure.
something. It's not that
Yeah,
literal,
yeah.
but it is a bit more of a story, or even just sometimes like a general like vibe or something, or this feeling or whatever it might be.
Yeah, almost like
But it also changes.
hieroglyphs, like hieroglyph
Yeah.
imagery language that's intangible, but it feels like, that's what I'm saying, is it looks like you're trying to say something, but I don't even necessarily think you are trying to say something. It just could
Mm,
say something,
for sure. I like that.
specific or not. Yeah, like it's meant to be read by. This is my view of it, looking from an outsider, is that like when I look at this, it's the artist made it for me to understand in my own way. I don't
Totally.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I definitely don't expect or necessarily want people to know exactly
Hmm.
what, but it's also like, I feel like if I have, it's not tangible, but if I have this thing behind it, it's kind of like the painting has like a soul. You know what I mean? Like there's all this weight. Like if I paint a goat on there,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's a goat and it looks cool or whatever, and you can take it just at that level. But also there's like this soul, this thing behind it, that
Yeah.
why I got there, even if I don't know exactly why. But it's not. I know when I'm bullshitting or not. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I want it to have like, yeah, like it's like the soul of the painting, where it came from, or something along those lines.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. So you always have, if you do a painting, it's like you get like your jungle painting, I can see behind you. Like there's a story. Is that like a scene from a bigger story or something like that for you?
Yeah, yeah. I think because I come from a very or at least what I'm trying to replicate is what I've consumed as a kid, and still now there's like cartoons. So and
Mm,
my stuff is based off of a cartoon character, and I kind of try to make an episode through different mediums. And I think that's something that you and I have both in common, is like we really like to explore different mediums, and are very much artists and not illustrators.
yes.
I think that's like you've inspired me so much by doing all these shows you're doing all the time, man. It's so
Yeah.
dope, and like I'm still trying to catch up and do more shows and stuff. But like, how in the like I don't know where you're at now, but I want to like the point of this is called the Decapod, by the way. The
Hmm.
point of this is trying to receive information for myself selfishly, um,
Hmm.
and how I can apply it to my game in different ways. Um, but like when you started doing these shows, were you just doing like rogue shows on your own, and then
Hmm.
eventually you would work with certain galleries, or do you work with galleries right now? What's that landscape look like for you?
Yeah. I mean, I had like a not great relationship with galleries for like many
Mm,
years. I just had zero
mm,
interest in even like shows in that whole world. But I think it was just because I was not being creative with it. Like ultimately,
mm,
it's just, you just need a space to do it.
yeah.
And to be honest, like it's probably not. It's only reasonably recently in the last couple of years that I've started like doing more shows, because I did. I think it was actually at the start of the pandemic. I did Dream Baby, which was um, the virtual one, which I did on my website, where I was like, I wanted to do it in my house, but then like in Australia it was super strict, like curfews and shit. Like you couldn't even go to people's houses. So um, yeah, I did it like virtually and like took photos in my house, but then drew over the photos and all that sort of stuff. And then just I booked it in kind of mentally for the date before I started the paintings. And then that was a real lesson to just be like, just book the next one. Just book, like, just do it,
Mm.
like find a space, and wherever a space comes. And then
So
that
so
bit,
you booked a date for yourself without a space.
yeah, I think I did it. I was
Cool.
like, maybe I'll do it. And then I was like, I'm just going to start. And then I really loved being like, I'm going to do multiple paintings that connect in some way, which I'd never done. I was just like, this is my artwork. Cool.
Hmm.
Next artwork,
Hmm.
next artwork. But to do like, be like, I'm going to do this
Creating a
collection.
showcase. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just loved that. it was just so motivating and awesome to have this thing. And then I just learned, like, I feel like the hardest part with shows is just, and with art in general, is it just sounds silly, but like just doing it, just do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, I really like what you said about just, it's all you really need is a space. And the same thing with me too, is I just did my first show in my laundry room, you know, after the digital show. So
Yes.
yeah, it's like you really just need a space. And then, like, once you get that going, you open more doors, and like
and help it inform you. Like, I know I read that book by, you know, that performance artist Marina Abramovic. She, like, in her book, she was always like, the space was first for her. So she'd get offered some space, and for any ideas or anything, she'd go in and be like, you know, what do I want to do here? Which is cool, because I think a lot of people go, oh, I've got these paintings, I'll just go and hang them in whatever's offered or whatever. Whereas for my other show, the next one after Dream Baby, which was Spirit Loop, like, I approached this gallery, Honeybones, and they're kind of very like artist run and more just giving a space to artists. And I said, I want to, you know, be able to, like, no one else is really involved, I want to do it exactly how I want to do it. And they were like, awesome. And I feel like I only got like 50% of what I really wanted to go with it, but learned a lot about setting up the space. Like, you saw photos and stuff, like having like plants and having like little bits on near the plants that near the paintings that people can like pick up and look at, like books and like things people can turn on touch, rather than just like, you know, separating. I don't want this thing of like the art is like better than anyone who wants to go and look at it, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's
tangible, touchable, interactive.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then the next one was just, which I've got coming up, Trash Baby, which is just I got offered a space above like a music venue in Melbourne, and they do a gallery up in this room upstairs. So that's, and they offer it for free, so that's awesome. But I'm nice. Just sort of just open to whatever space is coming. But I definitely want to get more creative with that. Like, do it in a house, in each of the rooms, and whatever it might be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Like, where does it come from doing all these, like, do you get into clothing, you have like a brand, you're doing these art, you're doing murals, you're like so multidisciplinary? Where does that come from? Like, is it stuff that you consume? Is it, and you're doing music too, like you're a super talented musician also on top of all that.
Thank you. Thanks, man. That's a good question. I think I saw you post something the other day on Instagram, people were asking you questions of things, and I feel like I've definitely connected with that idea you said of, like, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was something like ideas, and just sort of being as open as possible to a bunch of different ideas and where you want to go, and then you just like feel it, and you just like, you know, I hadn't done a t-shirt in like 5 years, like for my own stuff. I'd done heaps of t-shirt designs for other people, but I hadn't done it for whatever reason. But then this year on my birthday, I was like, I really want to do a t-shirt, and it just felt right, and I don't know exactly why. And it's not like it's a crazy unique idea to print art on a t-shirt, like everyone does it, but it's just like, for that time, it just been like, yes, I've got the design in my head, and you just, you know, just vibing it for whatever reason, and just follow that feeling. If you ever feel that feeling, just be like, yeah, I've got to do that, I've got to start it and do it. I don't know, do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you just feel like doing something different, you know. I think it's like, I think a lot of people in our, well, at least in my peer group, coming from Ghost Scouts, a lot of people are very illustration based, right? Mostly just like drawing illustrations for commercial, personal, whatever. But I think it's unique for like people like us to do so many different things, and want to do so many different things, do clothes and other things. And I feel like I get that from brands that I liked growing up, like Bape and like artists like what's his name, Tyler the Creator. He just does everything, you know. You remind me of him a lot, actually, because, you know, you have dope music, and then you like can do all the visuals for everything, you know. So
Oh, amazing compliment. Wow.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I think people maybe get a bit bogged down in like the commercial side of things and like make yourself a brand and that sort of thing. But even if you are that way inclined, wanting to like have this strong brand, like your brand can be that you just do everything. Like that can be your
Yeah,
thing, you know?
exactly. I hate the word brand, and
Me too. I hate it so much.
I definitely am a brand, but I think about sorry, there's like dog hairs everywhere, and I've been holding my dog down, and I keep putting more dog hairs in my mouth.
All
So,
good.
but uh, yeah, I hate the word brand, but it is what I'm doing, and it's the easiest way to understand what I'm doing. But I think what I'm trying to do all the time is world building and expanding the world. Like what do clothes look like in my world? What does a toy look like in my world? What does this and this, or importing stuff from there? So I like to say world building, right? And
Word
I think
building.
that's kind of like what we're doing in our way, like just expanding our universes,
Yeah,
through
that's such a
whatever we
better way.
feel like doing.
Yeah, it's a way better way to describe because brand
Yeah.
is so like limited to like
It's very
that
corporate.
what
It's very
that one value of like money really. Like that's the
exactly.
strongest part
Yeah.
of it. Whereas like world building, there's like so many. I mean, I know you're the same as me. You don't do a painting to like make money. Like if you do,
No.
that's a bonus. But there's like so many like countless values before money for me. Even though I mean it's amazing that you can live off it or whatever, but and people need money. But like yeah, brand is so, and also it just limits yourself. You like don't figure out your brand because then you just got to do that. You can't do something completely different. Or I feel like there's so much more that I would want to do like wider than what I already do. Like so that's the exciting part when you start. I don't know
Yeah,
anyway.
that's an interesting point, because when you think about a brand, it's a very, I guess the word is very like finished, and
Mm,
and
yes.
with when you put it in the frame of world building, I find that's a more accurate representation of what we're trying to do, because we're just exploring our own worlds by creating it, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have to use brand because everyday people don't understand what world building is. It's like, are you a
Yeah.
fucking video game person? Or do you
Yeah.
think like you're some
Sim
sort of
City.
like, yeah, exactly. So, but for people who are doing it, I think it's a great way to explain what we're doing.
Yeah, totally. I think you're right. It's like sometimes you have to use certain words just because it's the easiest way to get there.
Yeah.
What you're trying to say.
And so right now, are you just living straight up off of your art, like working for brands and stuff like you said, and selling your own art and stuff? Because right now I still have a side gig, and I'm still doing my own thing while I'm trying to do as much as I can with BARC, just trying to like shift that time over and trying to spend as much time. I do spend more of my time doing BARC and stuff, but how's that for you?
No, yeah, I'm a bit the same. I used to work for that non-for-profit AIM
Oh yeah.
that I've worked for with my wife, which is pretty good. It's been awesome because it's like I'm hired as like a resident artist, so the
Nice.
real their big thing is just imagination. So like anything and everything has to be drawn, and like which I just do. Like the moment they're doing like a document on like impact and like what the impact is, because it's a pretty big organization. It's probably like
Nice. Yeah, I did.
not
You hooked me up with a
yeah,
little vid chat.
that's right. Yes, you were on Imagination TV, so they're always doing creative stuff. But like yeah, even like seemingly boring docs, like things that a normal company would be just like a document. I get to like the impact is like this garden, like and all the different things represent like a drawing of this garden, kind of like ghost shrimps sort of style, like heaps of little details, and
Nice.
this represents this part or whatever. But I'm getting less and less with that because I'm the same as you, and especially having a kid now. Like time is, and what I want to put my energy into is a bit more precious. So I'm down to 3 days there from this week, but it's from home and they're pretty flexible workplace. Like if I have a lot on, I can take days off and do different things. So it's a pretty awesome gig. But yeah, like you at the same time, I'm like the shift is like I'm getting probably getting more and more offers for work than I've ever had this year. I feel
Nice, amazing.
just heaps of stuff coming in. Like I feel like the last week, every day, someone's asked me to do some logo or something, which is awesome. And the first time ever I've had to like knock back some jobs, which is that I want to do. I knock back jobs a lot, but not ones that I want to do. That's the first time. It was like an animation for a video clip, and it just takes me too long to animate.
Yeah,
Do you do
yeah.
animation?
I do animation, dude. I did a fucking animation for this short film I did, and it took just 3 minutes. Took me like 6 months, bro. I do
It's
little
crazy.
animations here and there. I do little GIF
Yeah.
animations, but it's such a grind, dude.
I don't mind little gifts because I don't know how to animate. I just draw frames. Like I did a couple of
Exactly.
video
Yeah, frame by frame, right?
Yeah, I did a couple of video clips, which I'm super proud of because I'm sort of figuring it out at the same time. But it's just such a huge commitment, and I find that I can't possibly charge properly for it, because if I charge properly, it would be like
Yeah, you scare
so
them away,
many
right?
thousands of dollars, and they'll just be like, it's usually for friends, bands, or something who they can only charge whatever. So I had to turn some ones that I really wanted to do down, but yeah, I'm shifting that sort of, like you said, that balance of when I can do it and stuff. And so yeah, I think for the first time ever, I'm like kind of dreaming of doing full time. I don't know if you remember, but at Ghost Camp, I was like, I'm always going to have some side job. I like it. I like to sort of take my brain out and do something else. And just like, I used to clean pools. It was great. Like it was just so different to art. And then
And always just creating art, right?
Yeah, I think it helped me because I think until now I'd never had to connect art with making money, and never had to like hustle and like put food on the table with art. Like I could just literally just do what I wanted to do, and then just do the job that I never had too many stressful jobs, which I think is good. Like it didn't feed into my time when I wasn't there. So I think that's definitely, I don't know, I would recommend that to like young artists.
Yeah, I think that's a very that resonates with me a lot, because for a while, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been really like digging at BARC, and it's really a fine art journey. I think we have the same thing where we really, when we're creating art, it's just like what I want to create at the moment, not necessarily for a client or something, which is the illustration life, which now I'm like, all right, I gotta like transition and stuff, and I can kind of do a hybrid, and eventually, why not? But I think it's a very, like you said, I had a non-art gig that supported me, and it gave me the time to just do whatever I wanted with no financial like limitation or stress to create art for my work, so I could just do whatever I wanted to do,
Totally.
for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a million ways to do it. There's no way that's better than the other way, but I would be scared that I would, because there is one side of my art, like there's such a spectrum in stuff I make, but there's one side that is more like commercial and marketable. Some of the stuff I do on t-shirts, I still love it, but it's like, I don't consider it as like deep and like fully in love with it as much as I am my art. I still like really like doing it and like design even and stuff, but I would be worried that I would go too much to that side because it like makes money,
Right. Yeah, because it takes a lot of it takes a lot of energy when you're, because I had like graphic design jobs, art director jobs in it, and at the end of the day, it's really hard to build up your energy to create more, because you're like using that same side of your brain to create. And like like at Ghost Scouts, let's talk about Ghost Scouts after this. But at Ghost Scouts, I quit my job at Sony Music to do Ghost Scouts, and then because it was like I didn't know what I was gonna do, and like I quit my job at Sony so I could like really figure it out. And like I was saying, I lost my track a little bit. Like I was saying, like my mind was so tired from like designing all day that it would be hard for me to do my own thing, and like took me so long to find it.
Totally, I totally get that. Yeah, I guess I don't think I meant it But yeah, then I always had jobs that were like not even at a computer or anything ever
Yeah.
until recently, like very like physical, moving around, and it's so good for you. And as a music friend of mine recently said to me that he realized it's important to be bored and not be like
Mm,
stimulated for creativity. And I was like, I didn't realize that, but I don't think I've been doing that enough lately. Just like being
true.
bored and like you literally like leaving space in your head for ideas
Yeah,
to like float in. And
dude,
I
that's
think
so
my
true.
my like pool cleaning job, I was literally like the
Yeah.
main thing was like vacuuming the bottom of the pool up and back. It was so relaxing. And I would just do like 8 of those a day, and I would literally just be like thinking, or not even thinking, just like empty space. And I'd come home and be like,
Yeah, you
a
know what?
million ideas.
That makes so much sense because I find myself sometimes like also just bored as fuck and waiting and be like, I can't wait till I fucking get home so I could fucking do shit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And then or like I think back to my mindset of when I would be working at like a, my old graphic design jobs. I'd
yeah.
be at the end of the day, I'd be like, "Oh, I just want to get home and fucking watch TV and chill and do nothing, you know?
Yes,
So there's a
totally.
value. There's definitely, yeah, I didn't realize it until now, but there's definitely a value to having that space in your mind, saving that creative energy for your own stuff, you know?
Yeah, what's his name? David Lynch says that I watched this thing on him, and he said that he thinks creativity is like ice fishing. You know, you have the hole, and you in like the North Pole, or whatever, and you put the rod down through the hole, and you can't
Yeah,
see the fish or anything. He says that's just like creativity. It's like you just got to sit there, just like have your rod in the pond,
that's a good one.
and just wait. Which I think is I definitely resonate with that. Like just that's one. It's like being bored, but also like just getting out into your studio or wherever you work and just getting there and starting, just do it, you know. Yeah, but we
For
should talk
sure.
about Ghost Camp.
Oh yeah. Okay. So do you remember remember when we okay, so when we went to Ghost Scouts, we met up in
Yeah.
the city and then we rode the
Yes.
bus together. That was really cool.
Oh my god, that seems like so long. I just remember you because I had to come from Australia, so I had to pack super dense. And I remember you came with like a fair few bags, and I was like, whoa, I think we'd stressed us both out. I was like, oh, I'm underprepared, and you were like, oh, I've brought too much.
Well, it's because I'm not that far like
Yeah,
as you were, you know.
yeah.
So I could, and I think I said I was gonna bring my car, and then I changed at the end. I think I
Yeah.
said that because my car it wasn't gonna make it, so that was a good decision in the end.
I don't think about that much when I think of Ghost Camp because obviously it's like so much happened in between, but particularly for me, like a day or whatever it was, and then to get the bus out for like quite a while was um, pretty fun, and just like that's my favorite thing when traveling, like just getting on a bus or public transport and like looking out the windows, like that was pretty cool, and to do it with you was awesome.
Yeah, that was sick. So do you remember like one of the first things we connected on, as I told you about Siggy Butt Brain, or I asked, do you know about Siggy Butt Brain? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's right. I do. Did I know it at the time? I
I
know it
think you
now.
no, you did. You did.
Yeah, I
Well,
did. Yeah.
at least I
So that
remember
was
that you
your.
did. I was like,
So
I
you.
had just
That's
watched
it.
it.
That's what you thought of Australians.
No, it's not what I thought of Australians. I thought about Steve Irwin first, of like a
Oh yeah,
typical American, but um
yeah.
yeah, there's like endless hairs going in my mouth. I'm just like resupplying all the hairs going in my mouth. Um,
Oh good.
but what's funny is that like the last Decapod that I did was with a guy from the Crab Conspiracy called Karma Void. Did he hit you up? I told him
Mm.
to hit you up.
I feel like
You
I've
might have.
chatted to
You
him.
might.
I
Yeah.
follow
Yeah.
him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Anyways,
don't think I know his face, but I know his Instagram.
he just landed a gig with those guys because so the creator of Siggy Butt Brain is this guy called Michael Cusack, and he's like on Adult Swim now.
Is he? Is he Aussie?
From yeah, he
And what's
did
he?
he did
What's the
YOLO.
show?
Do you remember
Yeah.
YOLO? Right now, Smiling Friends, I think Smiling Friends or Smiling Factory is out now, and I started watching
Yes.
a bit on Adult Swim, but it's crazy. I mean, I freaked out when he got that job. You know, we talked about it, but it's like one of the original YouTube meme animations. Oh, I think I
That's
lost
crazy.
you.
That's
Oh
and
yeah,
that's some serious Ghosting connection.
for real, for real. So yeah, it was just funny
Let
that
me
I was talking to him, and then
give me like yeah, give me 2 seconds. I just got
okay, go ahead.
I got to switch it.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's better. Yeah, actually, that show, I don't know the full story, but a friend of mine, Kathy, who's an animator and amazing artist, illustrator, she did some stuff on it as well.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and she's in Trash Baby, part of the next show I'm doing.
Oh,
So I've been meaning
sick.
to watch that show and ask her how she was involved and stuff, but it looks real funny.
Yeah, talk about Trash Baby. I just saw, I was looking over your Instagram before we talked, and I saw you have an ad for it coming up in April, right? 23.
Yeah, it was supposed to be October last year, but everything was getting postponed in Australia because it was like this. I can't even remember anymore. Something to do with COVID, and so it's kind of good. It gave us more time, but I booked it in before I had Ray had my baby,
Mm-hmm.
and it was as I was finishing my last show. So I was like, I'm just going to book in another one before this one's even finished. And then I had a baby, and I was like, whoa, how am I going to sort of achieve what I want to achieve? So I've got a bunch of friends contributing stuff, and it's all like painted on found objects. So I got found like old doors on hard rubbish, and just literally just stuff that's around or from op shops and secondhand shit or things we had. So I've painted heaps of shit. It's going to be like 90% my stuff probably. I don't know what everyone else has done, but it'll be cool, like sort of collaboration just to see what people have done, and not so much. I don't know. There's group shows in Australia. I don't know if you have it, where it's like everyone does like one painting, and they can be a bit like, I don't know. They're kind of like a bit commercial. Like everyone pays like a little amount of money, and then it doesn't seem like I was saying earlier, it doesn't seem like anyone's like putting the effort to make it like an experience in a space.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of like, oh yeah, everyone does an artwork. It's cool, but I really wanted it to be more of like not a group show, more of like a collaboration, and with some
Yeah,
artists that I
yeah.
really curated.
So it's more of a solo show with some some of your curation to help support or add on to your, like, people you really
Yeah,
like that would contribute.
yeah, and it's cool. Like I was really open. Like sort of that was the starting theme, and then letting people do what they want. And one artist, Lara, who's doing stuff with me, Pro Cop, I chatted to her the other day. I sort of did one of these with her,
Nice, nice.
which was cool. I started doing these with friends, just like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it a podcast, but it's just like, it's just so good to just like specifically talk about art. I don't feel like I get as much of a chance unless you like really set aside
Yeah.
time. Yeah, but anyway, she's like more of a musician, and she's doing like this soundscape for the show. So
Whoa.
it's like she's doing this album she was telling me about. It sounds awesome. It's like, it's sort of like a score for a movie, but there's no movie. It's just this album, and it's like she's using heaps of organic sounds. And she told me about this song. It's about, there's no dialogue or anything. It's this song, but it's about a robot or like cyborg who's becoming more human. So the sounds like are transforming during the song, and it's like all mechanical and like stuff at the start, but then it becomes more organic, and like it sounds so cool. And she did that little video that you can see on Instagram. She did that like little sound, that little beat and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's just cool to, even if that's all that comes from her, I'm happy. Just like, yeah, little things like that. So I'm pretty pumped for it. It's going to be cool. A little bit unknown, but we'll see. Yeah.
Um. So I've run into, like, when you're making shows, like, why do you want to make a show? Why do you want to present in this like whole way? You know, I
Mm,
wonder for you, what is it? You know, what is it that you want to, like, put a show? You know.
that's a good question. I really like that. It's good to think about. I think, what is it? I think there's a few different things. One, like real face value, is just like, it's just good to get people together and like actually in a space and like if you do paintings, like you put it on Instagram and it's about 0.1% of what it is. Like you can't represent it, you know what I mean? So like just to physically have paintings in front of people's eyes is like a big one. But also like, I guess I just look at like the room or wherever you're having it as like another artwork, and all the artworks are just part of that bigger thing. So that's just exciting to like set it up as one big thing that people can be inside of. And then also, like I said earlier, just sort of like the good pressure of like, you know, people are gonna come and see it, and you're a bit out of control, and you're a bit like there's a certain amount of time to set it up, and I don't know, it's just like I'm getting more and more as I get older, like art is about like the community thing, like you were saying earlier, and that gets me really excited, and I'm just so grateful for all my friends and stuff who make art, and yourself and different people around the world. And it's cool when you realize like, oh, we're not competing, we're like, we actually push each other up, and the more we do it, the more it's good for everyone. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just a good way to live for me, to just connect to people in that way by doing something you're crazy passionate about. So I don't know, that was a bit of a ramble, but hopefully that answers it.
No, for sure. Talking about community, okay, let's get back. Ghost Scouts, like for you, for me, it was a huge like jump off point too, that, you know, led us into where we are. And I feel like a lot of people who interact with Dan, whether it's through the workshop or through Ghost Scouts, which is the real shit. Everybody like now, dude, Ghost Scouts is like the shit right now. We're like so lucky that we did it already, you know? We had done it. Yeah. Do you get people?
Do you mean in that like because it's harder to keep it going now for Dan? Is that what you mean? Or
well, it's I mean, it's been shut down for
of course,
since the pandemic, but like since he did the podcast, it's been like really popping off. Everybody always asks me all the time, like, "Oh, I want to get into Ghost Scouts. How to get into Ghost Scouts?" And how did you hear about it? Oh, yeah, I remember how. But tell them how you heard about it.
Yeah, I just literally just had the Doom vinyl, and I bought it for the artwork. Like I saw it on the shelf. I don't do that too often. Actually, I do that a bit with records. I'm happy to, like, I think I can, because obviously I care so much about art. I will be like, even if it's a shit album, it's like $30 for nicely printed like artwork. Anyway, I just got the Doom Bishop Naru Ghost Shrimp album, and like Dan always does, he signed it. So I just I think that's one of his like rules, like always sign it, which I try and stick to as well. But I just looked it up, and then I was looking at his website, which is awesome, and I just sort of just connected so much with his art. Like at the time I was doing really strong, thick, actually I still do, like thick, consistent lines. And he's sort of like the master at that, like that, those consistent pen lines he does. And I was just like so lost in the world. I think I was a lot more free with my drawing. I'm not free, but maybe a little bit lazy at the time. And I was just blown away by how like clean it was. I was just like, whoa, that's cool. And just considered, and like you can tell that he would never let like a little line be out or whatever it is. But not perfect either, like clearly hand drawn. Not like a really human. And then I just looked at his website. I can't remember now. I guess there was a part of Ghost Scouts there. And I was like, I think I just thought I might as well do this application. Like it seemed like a good thing to do anyway. Like it was like reflective and like cool questions. And I was like, I'll do it with some drawings. And I made like a little website sort of thing. Oh, maybe it was just Tumblr or something. I can't remember what it was, but I did some drawings and stuff for each question.
Yeah, there was like a spirit animal thing.
Yes. 5-year plan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which I was sort of always dead against. I was probably just like scared of it, but I was never like a long-term goal person, but I kind of enjoyed doing that. And then, I think I just presumed there's no way I would get in. Like I just sort of thought, oh, there's like no way I'll get in. I might as well do it. Like even though it seems scary, I'll just do it. And not long after, he just emailed me like real like unassuming. It's just like, can you be in Vermont in this day or whatever? And I was like, oh, it wasn't even that far away, I don't think. I was like, oh, I guess so. But But I think I found out later that like it didn't have that many applications at the time. Because it's a huge commitment, I guess. And
Yeah, it takes a certain
quite
yeah, it takes a certain person to want to fucking chill in the fucking wet forest in your tent
yeah.
for a month,
I'm-
like it's all cool. It's all cool. We're all the Ghost Scouts, but you gotta like be in the forest, hungry and like fucking chopping down trees and bro, I'm starting to remember our time there. Oh my God. Yeah.
so good.
So
I
it
think
takes a certain amount of
Yeah, I think you just reminded me when it rains. Like I think the first time it really like pissed down rained, I was just like in my tent. I just sat in my tent and I was just like, why did I do this?
yeah.
I
Okay.
was pretty stressed.
So okay, let's get back on track here. We rode the bus together, and then we stayed at the not the motel, the what's it? Hostel. We stayed at the hostel and we met everybody. That's the usual procedure with camp. So you have like a little powwow. And when we got there, I remember, well, at least me, I was like, the fuck are we doing? Because it was still kind of like weird, I'm like, we're gonna go to this guy's place and we're gonna do fucking free labor and shit.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to get like drawing powers or something, like,
yeah, that's so bizarre being in Burlington for me. That was and just sitting out with that random group of people from around the world. I was just like, whoa, I was the same, where am I? But I was also, I think we had a couple of drinks or something. I felt like that was the first time I felt like, okay, I was a little bit comforting. Like everyone else was pretty unsure what we were getting into and what we were doing. So I was like, oh, we're together in this. Like and I was first time I was like, oh, we're kind of like, we're all in the same boat. We're kind of a little team going in. So that was really cool to meet up there in Burlington. So cool place. Love it.
Yeah, it is nice.
I went for a swim there the day after we had those drinks. I went for like a run, just to like see the town a bit more. So I was like, best way is I'll just run. And there was like that water, and it's like went to the horizon, and just I don't know. I just presumed it was the ocean or something. I didn't know where I was.
As a big lake, it's a giant lake. Yeah,
it's a giant lake. I jumped in and there was no salt. I was like, I think this is a lake. But yeah, that was cool.
Are you allowed to swim there, or you just fucking went in the water?
I don't know.
You're
Should
crazy.
I not have swum?
I don't know. Like, I feel like there's rules when you're supposed to just like, look at me. I'm just like such a fucking rule follower.
I didn't even think.
Don't go in the water. It definitely wasn't a beach. It was just the end of there's like a sidewalk and then there's water,
Yeah. So
right? Wasn't it?
I don't know. I just thought.
I mean, you probably could, but that's cool of you that you did that.
I didn't even think that.
Yeah.
It could have been like animals or something. I mean, in Australia, there's crocodiles and stuff, but
Sure.
when there's crocodiles.
No. There's no crocodiles. There's no fucking crocodiles there.
Alligators?
No. That's in Florida. It gets cold up there. If anything, like I know there's like a Loch Ness monster statue there, but it's just fish and just like nastiness. That's what I would imagine. But good for you. Good for you doing that. Okay. And then after that, I don't even know how we got there. I guess people had cars and we rode with them, right?
I think so. Camp. I think a few people drove. Yep.
Yeah. And then, so I remember when we get there, there's this guy, this fucking bald white guy with a bandana, just standing there, like fucking looking at us like it's fucking COVID 2020, before it was COVID. And he's just like, get your gloves and get your boots or whatever. And then we just like, we get there and we start working. Right. And then what do you remember? We're like,
oh my god, yeah, this is cool to go back over. Yeah, I remember that. And it was Mike, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it's funny because he's like the sweetest.
Yeah, exactly. He turned out to be like the coolest, nicest guy, but he was like super menacing and just like very weird, but on purpose,
Yeah. I feel like that would have been hard for him to get into that character because he's so nice. Such a sweetheart. But I remember just being a bit like taken aback by whoever was there, like Dan and the what do you call them? The what's the word?
Counselors,
yeah. And they're just like barely any eye contact and just straight to like carrying logs instantly. And I was just like, whoa. And I remember I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is like, what an experience, but also being like pretty like thrown. And then it got to a point where I was actually like, oh, this is actually getting hard. This is, my hands hurt.
Yeah. We're into sports, but the wood stuff is different for sure. Like I don't really like to get too fucking like muddy and dirty, but there's a lot of that.
Yeah, but I don't remember how that ended. Like, was there like okay, everyone in and like intro, or what did we do?
Yeah,
Or was it like,
I know we started a fire. We started a bonfire.
oh yeah, that was
And
like the first week, I reckon, just huge bonfire.
yeah, we were just like carrying fucking sticks and burning
Shrubs.
sticks. Yeah, we're clearing shit out so that we can potentially build something there or whatever. But yeah, the first day we're just like straight away working without any introduction or anything, and Dan's just there like sawing shit down, not even saying anything. So I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But like also I'm like very physical too, so I'm like, this is kind of fun, just throwing shit and like whatever. And like, you know, you can get hyped up about something like that.
It's probably less daunting for me than like if we all just went in and had to like introduce ourselves, or like,
I guess so.
You know, it's probably just like, cool, we're just here and we're just doing this thing.
I guess you expect that, and then you're like, okay, let's just have this weird buffer.
I think my first intro to like anyone actually talking to me at the councils was Squash.
Oh yeah, Squash. Yeah, there was Squash, Andrew, and Mike. And then Michelle was there too. And Celia.
Oh yeah, I think they both came later. Michelle and Celia. No, or was Michelle?
Yeah. No, they came later, but those were like the 5 people, which was like pretty dope. Like pretty dope.
But my first hint of like someone like one of them trying to connect with me or like talk and not be like a badass was Squash. He's like carrying a log back and he started doing his Aussie accent. He's like,
I forgot. Dude, he did that so hard.
I was like, who's this guy? I like full on like,
I love Squash.
I was like, well, here's Luna Tunes coming.
He has he has a little kid too. Did you know about that? He has a little baby.
I did. I saw.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was like in his 5-year plan.
I know, dude. I'm so happy for him. He was really wanting to start a family and stuff, and he did it, man. He has a little family. Like that's like his goal, family. You know, like, that's cool. That's really cool that he accomplished it.
That's awesome. So good. So how did it end? Did we that first bit? Did we like?
I don't remember.
Did we have a barbecue that night or something, or was it just obviously just setting up our shit, our little?
We set up our camps. I remember I remember where you were. I was like closer to up the hill, and then Gerard was across from me, and then you were closer to the cabins.
Yes, I think I was a bit like,
on the path. You were like right off the path.
Yeah, like right where Dan would walk past them on.
Fuck up. I was like,
like right in my tent. But I rember. You and how do you say Gerhard?
I know. I think I just said Gerard, but I don't know. You could say Gergard. I don't know. Let's just Gummy Brady. This is good, Gummy Brady.
Gummy Brady. We should know how to properly pronounce his name. That's bad. But you were up the top there, and then I did like my little spot, kind of like a little bit.
Right next to the bathroom. Good first dibs on the outhouse.
That's right. It was good. I felt like I was in my own little, as much as we were all together, there was my own little spot down there, which is nice. But I feel like I was always jealous. I feel like it's probably more your personality, but you like did your setup properly, like quite early.
I watched tons of YouTube videos. I watched tons of YouTube videos before because I'm like, it looked like I went camping, but I didn't really. I went camping like once or twice on a parking lot, like camping type of thing with my family, like when I was young. But I watched like videos on how to tie knots, which came in like really handy, and how to set up a fucking line and blah blah blah, all that shit, and it turned out to pay off a lot. So that was cool.
It was great. I think I went in because I'd done a bit of camping, but not like never that long, like a few days or whatever it might be. So it's always just like it was always get your tent up as like quick as you can, and then you can chill out or do whatever you want to do. So I was just like, oh yeah, it's done. But then I wish at the start I like just took an extra hour or two and just like made it really, no, like my tarp over top is terrible, but
Yeah,
it
because
was
you
fine.
realize the like the wind and the rain is serious. You know, when you're
Oh,
out
yeah.
there for so long, we're there for what, like a little over 30 days. He's on the
Mm.
usual camp program, Ghostscout Training Camp program.
It's a long time. It's like I often just like think back and like how grateful I am for that. Like I don't know, you've been back a lot, which is awesome, but I don't I don't know, I don't get that many chances, especially these days, to just have 30 days
Oh yeah,
out in the
oh, yeah.
wilderness and like even just off working or whatever, or yeah, just to really be out there. So it's like, yeah, such a strong memory in my head. Doesn't feel like that as long ago as it was.
Yeah, to me, I guess you're right. It's crazy how it is such a strong memory, and it kind of stays in the front-ish because it was so different, right? So different, and yeah, like you said, you don't get time like that to do something as crazy as camp for a month with like a bunch of strangers.
Yeah. It's still my like claim to fame if it ever comes up. I don't bring it up because it's almost like too good. But if someone brings it up, they're like, "Oh, remember that thing?
You're a Ghost Scout?" Yeah.
And I don't really explain it that much. Everyone's just like particularly in Australia, like no one knows the Ghost.
Dude, people are knowing about it. I got another CrabCon member who's coming to Melbourne, right? You're in Melbourne?
Oh yes, Melbourne.
Yeah, dude, really cool guy. Also, called George. He's called Mr. Bin. Did he hit you up?
Yeah.
I sent him to you too. No? Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Someone said they listened to my Ghost Stream podcast the other day. That maybe that was him. I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, he's called Mr. Bin. And he's called Blob Crab, Mr. Bin, and he's coming from New Zealand. Actually, really cool guy. Skates and does sick illustrations. But you guys should hang out.
Yeah, he's cool from New Zealand. Cool, yeah. Heaps of people, heaps of Kiwis in Melbourne from New Zealand. They all come across here.
Yeah. He says it's like all the fucking lockdowns, and he just wants to change it up or something. But
yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Yeah, then I can't even remember what the first few days were like. I think I don't know, getting to know people and stuff.
I guess it was that. And then we started working. I think we were like burning shit for a while. And then I remember one of the days we burned shit for a while, and then we start cutting trees down. We're cadets, so we're not allowed to use the chainsaws yet. You get to when you're counselors, which I don't really like doing. It's just like way too dangerous of a weapon to wield for me personally. You know,
totally,
like, I can do it and I'll do it, but I won't choose to do it. It's just so scary, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'd probably be the same. Yeah.
I feel like I'm definitely might. I mean, yeah, you could definitely saw your leg off.
Yeah.
You know,
you'd be the one. You'd be the first.
Your chances are 100% more likely than just like carrying sticks and stuff. So I don't know. That just like goes in my head every time I'm doing it. I'm like that. You know, mad bar from the blade.
I did it once with my brother. Like, he lives on a decent sized property, and I was chopping, and I was just like, nah, this is not for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like a gun. I feel like I'm like,
you have to
I've shot guns before, but I'm like,
I remember
serious,
I was doing it. My brother's like, no, you have to like let the saw do the cutting. Like, you can't like direct. I was like, oh, this is too much. Take it back.
Yeah. So they start cutting the trees down, and then we have to carry the fucking logs, the freshly cut logs, and skin them. But we have to bring them from where they fell to a specific spot. And I remember one day we were just like, we moved so many logs, and like, at least in my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna be so jacked after this. It's gonna be awesome, you know? Like, but like,
I remember moving heaps with you.
Yeah, we would get super hyped about it.
Yeah.
But I remember one day just sitting in my chair and just like, I've never been this tired before in my life.
Yeah.
You know, just like,
it was so exhausting, and like getting up early, and then also just being outside is like good. You get good tired. Like, and you're outside all the time. But then, I remember do you remember one time we were working all day, and then for some reason we like sat at those cabins, like in sort of like the dirt, like dusty part there, and we were just, I forget what it was, like maybe Dan was just telling us what we'll do in the next couple of days or something, and everyone split. And I remember just like I was so tired, I just literally laid in the dirt, and I just
No, I don't remember
someone
that.
put on music. I think Chang or something put on. I was telling him I like
Oh
Tallest Man
yeah,
on
Chen
Earth, and
was
he's like,
there.
"Oh, I have it on my phone." So he played me the new album. He's like, "I'm going to put on the new album." I was like, "Awesome!" So I just laid back into it. I feel
Nice.
just like the deepest nap of my life. And I remember I was sort of waking up. I could hear voices, and then heard someone. I don't know who it was. Someone was like, "Is Liam dead? Is he alive?" So it was like I was so just in the middle of camp, just like fully dead for like a couple of hours. I still remember it was like one of the best sleeps, the best little naps I've ever had, because
Oh
just so
yeah,
tired.
you're just like brain dead.
Yeah,
Just like fucking
it
nothing
was
in my
hard.
mind right now.
I think I found it quite hard to get to the point where I was actually doing drawing in the afternoon, because you do that till 12, and then I find I would need to like wash, so I'd go down and like wash at the brook. So it was called the brook.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah,
I
I
find
would wash.
I still find it hard to actually do like serious work there too. I for me
Yeah,
it's kind of a playtime, just hanging
yeah,
out, and I like to socialize. I don't know. I like to when
yeah.
everybody's there, like yeah, I'll hang out and like have fun and make jokes and stuff. Rather
It's probably
than
more for that, isn't it? Like I think I went in thinking like, oh, this is a month to like do a project. It's amazing. But I feel like earlier I wish I just sort of was like, oh, just do some scribbles or whatever. Like do your
totally,
like
totally.
you don't have to do this dream thing. It's more just like like we said, just like a launching starting pad. Yeah.
I think it kind of back then it was you bring a project with you, and I had also prepared a comic that I was working on,
Yeah.
but I think the real way to do it, or whatever, you can do whatever you want, but the real way for me is to make connections with the people that you uh spend time with there. You become
Yeah.
almost like family, just like and lifelong friends. Like 7 years ago, we met, and
Yeah.
we don't even live next to each other. um
Yeah.
but but yeah, I find like going back every year, I find that like you just make really close friends with all these people that you spend time with in the forest, that you'd never do that, and you just share such a
Yeah.
unique experience together. um
Yeah. And I think it's just so cool to spend that long with people that on first instance I don't think maybe I would be like, oh, maybe we're not going to be friends. Like I don't know, we don't click that much or whatever. You know what I mean? In the best way, not
yeah, yeah,
because of
yeah,
them
yeah,
or
yeah,
not
yeah,
because of them or because of me, but just
yeah.
because I don't know who has time to like, hang out with people. But it's like I remember just like after a few weeks being like, oh fuck, like yeah, like you get along with everyone by the end, like, and everyone's just like a human, and then but they just don't get the time to spend with everyone, obviously, in the real world. So yeah, that's clearly like the coolest part of it all, is just spending that long with people, and then um, yeah, so awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah, I remember something that just flashed in my mind is like, I remember one time we were um, doing whiskey slaps.
Like, yeah,
We're doing whiskey slaps, and we're all, which is basically you take a shot of whiskey and then you slap the person who just took a shot, right? And you have
yeah,
partners,
yeah, that's
and
right. Do you do a shot and get slapped?
you do a shot
Yeah,
and then you get slapped, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so I remember my partner was Gummy Brady, and we did like a good slap, but like a respectful slap, take a
Yeah,
shot, like
I
solid,
remember
but
it well. You did it. You nailed it. Like not like not vicious, but also you don't want to go too soft, which I think is what
yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
we're just like, there you go.
Yeah,
And then I mean, I think I always talk about this, but it's like something that I'll never forget, dude. Um, like Seth Butterflesh and what's his name? Jake. What's his name?
yeah.
Pleasure Cruise.
Pleasure
Pleasure,
cruise. Yeah,
pleasure Cruise, dude. Because he looks
Is it?
like a little Tom Cruise
Yeah,
look-alike, not look-alike. Um,
yeah,
uh, but I remember Pleasure Cruise. He had like some sort of, he's gonna listen to this maybe or maybe not, I don't know, but he had some sort of like ego thing, and
Mm.
he like slapped the shit out of Seth, and I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, like they're not even friends. They're not even friends. Like me and Gummy Brady were friends, and we did like a mild like, okay, you know, bah. But like they're not even
It was
friends. And he
way
just
harder. It
slapped
was
the
way
shit
harder.
out of him. I was like, oh my god. And you could see like the rage in Seth's face and the butterflesh melting his face off. And it reminds me of those slap contests that you see on Instagram. Do you know those
Yeah.
slap contests?
Yeah.
Where like he basically palm striked his face, and he was wearing a beanie. Pleasure Cruz was wearing a beanie, slapped him, and his like beanie came off, and you could see his eyes like roll up. I think he got a flash knockout, dude. He got a flash knockout for sure.
I remember that so well. That's
One of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, that's like true redemption.
Seth was like, well, it was full on, but it was also like completely warranted because
Oh yeah, no, he deserved that.
Pleasure Cruises was from nowhere. Like there's no reason that he needed to do it that hard. And then Seth was like, well, I got to do it as hard as I possibly can, and he did.
No, he was pissed. He was pissed. That was great.
I remember. I think I did with Tyler. Tyler, was it Tyler?
Oh yeah.
I think I did with him, and it was just like everyone was like, that was a waste of time. We just did it way too. We were way too nice. It was it was a waste. We just sort of like touched each other's face nicely. It's like that's not the point of the game. But anyway, oh man.
Yeah, that's like crazy.
I reckon that was like mid camp, maybe.
Yeah. What else? There's like.
Do you remember the wildest time was when do you remember? Oh, this is probably, I don't know if I ever properly talked about it in detail, but it's a shame because we had a night where all the counsellors and Dan went out to town, and it was just us at camp, and we had like a really good. It was like a real. I felt like it was a nice like bonding night with us, and we stayed up like later than we normally would, and we were drinking and smoking.
Is that when you pulled out the ukulele?
Oh,
was that night? I remember you did that, and dude, when you started singing, I was like, oh my god, this is like good. You know,
I forgot about that. That was nice.
Yeah,
I did like Tom Waits' version of Waltzing Matilda, the Australian song. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was not that night. That was not that night. You're saying?
I think everyone was there that night. That was really good too. That was another bonding night. But this night it was just the cadets.
Yeah.
And everyone else went out to town, and like nothing crazy happened or anything. It was just like I remember it just being like nice, and I felt like real open, and everyone was just drinking, and like because we felt like no one else was there. And I feel like maybe everyone started like no one else was there, so we could talk about camp. Like fuck, what was that? How are you going with this shit? Is this hard or like whatever? That was nice.
Because there's counselors. Sometimes there's counselors there, and you can't really like open up really.
Yeah,
you're like,
and it was strict then. There was like a few rules.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still the same, but it was like no phones and a bunch of different rules that were a little bit strict and still a bit like secrecy sort of like.
Yeah, we couldn't do like drugs or anything. Not that we're doing like hard drugs. We couldn't like smoke weed, and that's why Mike was super dope because he like hooked it up with like a couple nugs, nugs of bud, and there's like little rules like that.
But then that night was the same night because it was Cole's 21st, and that's when they came back, and they were being like pretty rowdy. And that's when it was like like the next day. It's like it's kind of like too boring to go over, but like that was intense. That was the most intense moment for me. I was like right there in that tent. I was just like, oh my god, because like I think they pulled guns out at one stage, and guns in Australia were like I've never seen a gun in my life. Let alone I heard it go off and stuff. I was just like, that was wild. I remember the next day I was just like, the cadets were like, nah, we're not working today, and like a fair few of us.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. I think
Dan hated it. You could tell he was just like, he like hated that we weren't work, but also he slept in too, so he wasn't there in the morning. I remember, so I'm like, if he's not here, I'm not getting up.
I remember that being a big deal. You were really close to the cabins too when they popped off. Basically, they got drunk and they were like popping off gats in the night, you know, which is pretty crazy. Which is pretty crazy, warranted. Yeah, pretty crazy.
At one point, I heard Athena like she was like yelling out like from down at the house, like, you know, shut the fuck up, sort of thing. Anyway, that was intense. But then that was the night that Jamie Brady went up there and it was like some shit. I
Yeah.
heard a bit of that, but I was sort of half asleep as well. I was like, oh. But the cool thing about that was it was a big, like, heaps of people were upset, and then it was hard to figure it out the next day, and we kind of said we're not working and stuff. But it was kind of like later that day, we were all hanging out, and just it was like we just got together and talked it out, and it was like done. And I remember just being like, oh, if this was like the real world, it would just take like weeks to like, oh, someone, you wouldn't talk about it or whatever. It's just like cool. It was like a cool part of camp that if something goes down, it's just like sort of squashed quickly.
Yeah. I think before our year, it was pretty like renegade rogue type deal, you know. And then I think it feels like, not that they weren't serious about career or art stuff, but it felt like it was moving in this direction more of like an art residency instead of like a road camp
Like a
situation.
wild, like wild, like what's
Wild
the
Boys.
wildest story? Yeah.
Let's fucking have
That
a
gets
wild
like,
time.
I don't know. It gets kind of boring anyway. Like it's just like it's cool enough. You don't need
Yeah,
to like,
and I'm down
know.
for that. I'm down for that, but like it is different when you're bringing strangers into it, and like some people
Yeah.
can't go anywhere, and you know. But
It was
it was
confusing.
yeah.
It was a bit
And like as
confusing to me
somebody
'cause,
like you who doesn't like fuck with guns or never seen a fucking gun, you know.
yeah, it was really hard for me because part of me was like, well, this is Dan's property and home,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like I know that the culture's totally different, so I'm like, part of me was like, I didn't want to care at all, but then another part of me was like,
It's
you know,
scary. It's scary. Yeah.
scary and so far from home, and that's when Jared was actually awesome supporter because he's like
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Jared was there
He's
too.
his knowledge of like there's heaps of counselors who came
Yeah.
through, but yeah, he's like knowledge of just like Australia and different countries and stuff was pretty cool, and he was just pretty like backing us up the next day of like guns are pretty weird to these people.
Yeah. I was farther from it. Like me and Gummy
Yeah.
Brader were at the end of camp, so I don't know if you even actually heard it, or I might have heard it, but I thought it was maybe fireworks or something. So it wasn't for me in my head, it wasn't a huge deal. Also, like thinking back now and like even talking to you about it, I didn't know that like you guys didn't have guns in Australia. I mean, there's tons of places, but I'm just like so American centric that I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
The hard
just
part
being
for me was you go. Yeah.
Just being more mature, you kind of can see why that's fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah, I'm remembering now being in the tent and like, because obviously it's dark and I don't know what a gun sounds like. You can't tell anyway. But I didn't know for sure which way these guns are getting shot. Like I presume, probably the other way. But also
ricochet, dude, like the movies. Dude.
So I was sort of like stuck in my little tent and like, oh.
So were you freaking out, thinking like you were in the like fucking Navy SEAL training under the barbed wire?
No, I just thought I never felt unsafe, but I didn't feel like I could leave my tent and go to a different spot. So that was kind of like maddening. Like I was a bit like, oh, what the fuck? I'm going a bit crazy. But I mean it's a story. I definitely don't hold any beef or anything.
Yeah. That's what's cool about it is that we were able to talk about it, and like we stood up for ourselves, and Jared was there to help us out, and like, you know, kind of go against the authority, which was Dan and the counselors at that time, and just like, hey, that was like pretty crazy, you know.
Yeah, it was cool. I think because I feel like I hadn't seen anyone.
It was reciprocated.
There was a bit up to that point. I feel like with councils and stuff, a bit of like Dan is like a god or something.
For sure,
like, it was kind of cool to be. I think our group was a bit like Dan's also obviously made it all happen, and it's like so inspiring and everything. But also like we're just one of the same people, you know. We're just a group, you know. So I think that was cool.
There's very much at that time. I remember it being very much like an exclusive, very exclusive thing, and it was very secretive and not weird, but I get it. You know, it was like it was very hierarchical, right?
Yeah. But that was a cool part too. I kind of like that.
Yeah, there's a cool element to that too. I think from experiencing that, I try to like be really like cool friends, equal to everybody, and I think I don't know if to say that I've been in like places of leadership in team sports and stuff that's like good morale and just like positive attitude will just help everybody and just being positive and like still having like a hierarchy, but not making it seem like there is, I think,
Yeah.
is important to,
Yeah, but imagine if like if Dan wasn't there every day, like it just that full like hype at the start of the day, and obviously the whole thing is
Yeah.
because of him. That just
For
like
sure,
energy.
for sure,
It's
for
like
sure,
you'd
for
be.
sure.
I feel like you would get so bummed if he didn't come up there every day and do that exercise and get
Definitely.
everyone going. It's like
Dude.
so good. Like obviously that's like his superpower. I think he's just like energy and like hype.
No.
He's
We,
just like
we need Dan out there for sure. And I think like coming from the other side now, having been a counselor a couple of times,
yeah.
it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to hype everybody up, keep everybody hyped up, like help everybody out, and just like because we've been there, and I think it's gotten everybody says before you and every generation and like in life in general is that like the years before were harder and blah blah blah. So like having come from harder generations, you know how hard it can be, and just trying to make it easier for everybody and more chill and more of a, and it's also less of a renegade crazy fucking drunk and fucking, which I like. I'm about that shit too, but like it's more of an art residency now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, so good. It's such a cool thing to have done. Even just talking about it, I'm remembering like what it felt like to be out there. So awesome. So cool. Like I remember I told Dan, I'm like, oh, like that's how I came. Like I didn't even know what Adventure Time was at the time. Like when I was there, I hadn't watched it. And then I told him I did the Doom thing, and he's like, "Oh, I'll bring them up." And the next day, he had like the original drawings.
Oh yeah. It's cool when he brings out all his drawings. Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Ghostscouts.
Sorry, I didn't mean to harbor on that not too much.
No. That was like one of the big things, and then we didn't even get to like the Gummy Brady situation. I feel like if he ever comes on, I'll talk to him about that. But that was like a whole big deal. There was a lot of drama that year for sure. It's not like all fucking sunshines and fucking carrying logs,
Oh no, I guess that's part of it.
Shit goes down. Yeah.
That's kind of at the base of it, isn't it? I remember Dan saying it's kind of like, you come and it's hard, but it's sort of like a little mini replication of life. Like, there's always going to be things you got to do in life, but you got to sort of keep trying and keep.
There's always like little dramas we got to deal with, and like squash and shit for sure. Cause like it's just like a bunch of roommates, basically a bunch of roommates in the forest, without walls. People need to fucking be like, yo, stop doing that,
Do you remember that day when one of the hardest working days? I remember when it was like pissing rain. It was like muddy as and real. I don't know if you were there, but I remember I was like filling the gaps in one of the cabin, like making it like insulating it with sticks and then like putting like clay in it. I remember we were all just like cold and like covered in mud, and like it was kind of one of my favorite working days because it was hard, but I remember the counters like broke a lot of the rules. Like we had music going, and I remember Scotch at one point just came with a bunch of like coffees from like the service station, whatever, one time, which they would never do. Like, and just rolling with that. I remember it being like real hard, but like kind of the whole point of Ghost Camp was like that was real hard, but we were together. And I remember I was chatting with Stephanie for a lot of the day, and that was really cool. Like I don't think I'd connected with her that much yet, but we had a cool chat. And
I've been hanging out with her and Celia. I go to Montreal a lot now. I got married to somebody from Montreal.
That's right, you got married, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So she's from Montreal.
Yeah. We go back and forth. Right now she has to stay there for to be on site for a job, but I'm gonna go in like 2 weeks back up. But we're just like going back and forth until like I'm ready to move or whatever.
That's cool. You get to see them then. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool because I get to see Celia all the time. She actually has a art studio right next to her place, and then I see Stephanie, and there's also another Ghost Scout called Alexi that's up there now. So
they're also inspiring. Those two in particular, Celia and Stephanie. I feel like I see their stuff they're making all the time. It's just cool to see people like just keep making stuff. It's great.
I know, man. It's so sick that we're still friends and that we have all these friends around the world. Like every time somebody's like, I want to go here, I'm like, oh, I have a friend that's there or close to there, Like,
yeah.
Because of Ghost Scouts or whatever our communities you have. And That's great.
For sure. Yeah, and I stayed with you for a night after camp in New Jersey.
Yeah. You and
That's right.
Seth stayed
Yeah.
at my place. Stayed at my mom's place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still regret that night we went out in New York that I didn't just like pay for a cab
I
home.
forgot.
Do you remember we
forgot
went?
we did. I
Do you
forgot
remember we caught like multiple forms of public transport to get back to your house? And I remember being like so tired because we'd come back from Ghost Camp, and then we tried to fit this night in because I'd like rarely been to New York, and we had a good night actually. We went and had some drinks and went to comedy and stuff.
We did.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that much, but I was just like, I remember getting low in funds, but I was like, why didn't I just get us? Because I feel like that was our last hanging out. I was just like incredibly tired on a bus.
Yeah, I know. It's a that's the thing about living in Jersey. It's like it's a fucking trek, you know.
I loved like we went and got burgers there at one place, I think near your house, which was awesome.
Hiram's.
That was great.
Hiram's. Yeah. I still go there. That's like the classic New Jersey fucking burger joint.
Yeah, I mean, because we get all your like TV shows and movies and stuff, so it felt like I was like, well, this is cool. This looks like a movie.
Everything comes from there. Yeah,
for sure.
Burger. All right, man. Well, that'll do it, I guess. And we've been chatting for quite a bit. And anything else you want to say to people? You want to talk about Trash Baby? April 23rd.
Yeah. I'm glad you know the date. Yeah, April 23rd. I don't know. I've got heaps of things coming up. Keep an eye on my Instagram. I've got lots of ideas. I feel like this year I'm going to have more time and space than last year to like really dig into some art stuff. So I want to keep doing it. And you've inspired me to just book another show. I got to do it.
Yeah, dude. Me too, man. Like every time I've seen your shit, like you started doing gallery shows, and I wanted to start. I was like, fuck, this guy's doing it. I want to do it too, and that's what it's all fucking about, dude. Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
LOONA.
Yes, my Instagram one is.
Yeah,
that's it. NS with double O's. It's a bit confusing. I spell it lots of different ways, but
we should do. You said we should do.
We should try and figure out some sort of like group show. How do we do it? Like internationally, somewhere in the middle. Philippines.
I got to go to the Philippines soon, but I want to go to Australia, man. I've always wanted to go. I told you when we met, and have a bunch of friends there now, and I love Australian stuff. I have a kinship with Australian stuff. Like I was talking about Chris Lilly. Is it Chris Lilly? Yeah, I love Chris Lilly, and I love Siggy Butt Brain, and I love Steve Irwin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so good. Yeah, mate. Let me know when you're on the way, and we'll sort out a show
eventually.
Murals somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Let's line that up so that I can do that. I would love that for sure.
Come down.
All right, man.
Sweet, man. Thanks so much for having me on.
Peace, man. BARC we trust, and Crab we lie.